This is a romance story that follows two people that I'm now throwing this book. This is lovely. Good job, Kelsey. Hi everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with my May haul. So May was a pretty, good month. We did go to the used bookstore nearby, but I did significantly less damage than usual. I've only got about 10 things to show you, which is still a good amount, but for my standards, we are continuing to get better and better. So a relatively smaller haul this month. Not a whole lot of things that I just picked up for the sake of picking up. I did have a couple of pre-orders. I got some books via a bonus at work and just some extra things here. So not a whole lot to say. Let's just dive right in. The first 3 books all came, like I mentioned, from a little bit of a bonus at work. The first one being this big old chunk, which is Beautiful Nightmares, which is the 4th book in the Fortuna Sworn series. It is huge. I put off buying this because it is, first off, very, very large, but it's also relatively expensive because it is indie published, but again, cute little bonus at work helped out. This series is one that I have loved. I've read the first 2 in the series. Like I said, this is the 4th one. The 5th one comes out this year, and then the final book comes out next year. So I'm a little obsessed with this, but I'm trying to slowly but surely make my way through. So I don't know what this one specifically is about, obviously, since it's the 4th one and I haven't even read the 3rd one yet. But this series as a whole follows our main character, Fortuna Sworn, who is a nightmare. And basically what that means is she has the special fantastical ability, magical ability, that she can tell what someone's biggest fear is. And in doing so, she has the ability to bring up kind of like illusions, if you will, if she needs to, for that person's biggest fear. So she, at the beginning of the very first book, it has been a couple of years since her brother has gone missing. Everyone thinks that he has passed away since it's been 2 whole years, but she is convinced that he is still alive and is still actively looking for him. And she gets approached at her job. She works in like a diner as a waitress, and she is approached at her job by a guy who is Fae. And he basically says that he knows kind of what happened to her brother, can tell her, basically take her to him, and he only asks that she marry him in return. And she's a little thrown off by this, but decides to go ahead and do it. And then it's the story from there. So this is just the next installment. I'm very excited about the series. I really want to dive into it as I continue more and more because I loved the first 2 so much. And this one is just the next one, which is honestly, big books usually terrify me, but because of ACOTAR and some of the other fantasy romances that I've really enjoyed, I am just very excited to have this one. It kind of matches my shirt today. But this cover is just beautiful and I am excited to continue with Fortuna's story. So this is the next installment. I now own all the books that are currently out right now. The next one is one that you will have already seen because it's on my summer TBR, and that is Do I Know You? And this is by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sigmund Broca. This is the 2nd adult book by them. They used to write a lot of kind of like Shakespeare-inspired YA books, and this is their newest adult book. I'm very excited about it. It's giving all the beach vibes. And this book follows Eliza and Graham, who have been dating for a long time. I think they're dating. I'm not sure. Oh, they are married. Just kidding. They are married, and their marriage has kind of been a little stagnant here lately, and so they end up going on beach vacation and meet up at a bar, and someone at the bar mistakenly kind of introduces them to each other as if they don't know each other, basically as like oh, you two should try dating. And they kind of go with it, and they put on this persona of them like meeting for the first time, and in doing so kind of rekindles their romance a little bit, and so the story kind of follows that. I'm sure other things are going to happen, but it's that chemistry kind of being reignited again. I think this book sounds so good. I'm hoping to get to it relatively soon. This is like a good beach read, so maybe this month, we'll see. But this is one that I recently picked up, and I don't know, there's just something about it that sounds fascinating. The next one I picked up was the 7th volume of Spy Family, and this is by Tatsuya Endo. This is, I'm starting to get closer to being complete as far as what's currently out. I believe there are 11 out now. It is still coming out, so it's not, I don't think it's finished yet, but there are 11, and now I have 7. I'm currently on the 5th one. I've read the first 4. So this is just the next installment in this series that I very much have been enjoying. So it's one that I've talked a lot about, but it follows 3 main characters. Our first main character's name is Twilight, and he is a spy. And he's been sent on a mission to kind of infiltrate a boarding school and become really close friends with this guy whose son goes to this boarding school. And he thinks the way to do this is to create a family. So he adopts this girl, and he finds this woman that agrees to be married to him, and they all have secret identities. They don't know that he is a spy, except for the little girl. The little girl is a telepath, so she actually knows all the things. And then the mom is actually a hired assassin, but of course, she doesn't think anyone knows this. The husband doesn't know this about her, that kind of stuff. And so it's 3 of them creating this family. Basically just, they think it's just to be really, really sweet and innocent, except for Twilight obviously has ulterior motives. And they're actually just the cutest family. I love watching their dynamic, but this is just the next installment I didn't have. So I will continue to collect these until I have all of them. But right now I have up to 7. So I have 3 volumes that I own that I haven't read yet. So, it's exciting. The next book is my Book of the Month book that I picked up for May, and that is Yours Truly, and this is by Abby Jimenez. This one is very interesting to me, but there's going to be so much more to it, because we follow our main, it takes place around doctors. So our main character is Dr. Brianna Ortiz, and she is kind of a little stagnant right now. She's got a lot of stuff going on. Her marriage is finally, like her divorce is finally going through, so she's just finalized that her brother needs a new kidney, so she's stressing about that. And also she really wants a promotion, but she's sure she's not going to get it. It's going to go to the new kind of hotshot lawyer guy that she's already decided that she cannot stand, and his name is Dr. Jacob Maddox. But everything gets flipped on its head when Jacob sends her a letter, and it's like a really sweet letter. And so they actually start to become really close friends, and then he offers to actually give her brother a kidney. And so it's their friendship to romance, I'm thinking, and there's just a lot to this. There's a lot of moving pieces here, and the synopsis itself is written in such a humorous way that I'm thinking that maybe the book itself is going to have that lighthearted humor to it, especially when it's such a tough subject like someone needing a kidney transplant. So I don't really know what to expect with this one, but it seems like a lot of fun. I have heard of the other book written by this author, which is Part of Your World, but I didn't actually ever read that one. So there's something about this one just sounded really interesting. So that is my Book of the Month for May. We then have a pre-order that came in, and that is Alpha of the Mortal Flesh by Ben Alderson. This is the 3rd book in his Darkmoor series. I have read the first book and I have the second one, but this is the most recent one. He also has more coming out in the series. It's a companion series. You don't have to read them in any specific order. They don't really have to do with each other, except for that it just takes place in the same universe. But they all are retellings of sorts, and this one is Red Riding Hood. So we follow our 2 main characters. One of them is a witch, and his name is Rory, and then you've got the wolf, and his name is Calix. And Rory is dealing with a really tough situation because he is married to the head of the Crimson Guard, which is just kind of like a, I'm assuming, it doesn't really say what they are, but I'm assuming it's some kind of force, military force, and it is a very, very abusive relationship, both emotionally and physically. And then one day he's basically called up, and this wolf thinks he's kind of, Calix has really nothing left. He has lost a lot of people in his life, including his brother, but he thinks that Rory's abilities are going to be able to help him get his brother back. So they kind of do that. It sounds like Rory kind of keeps his abilities, because like I said, he is a witch, keeps that on the down low from his husband. So I'm curious how that's gonna all go, because clearly the husband is not good by any stretch of the imagination. But it's their romance within this. So there's a lot to this. So obviously trigger warnings for abusive relationships. I will see if there's any more. He's really good at putting stuff at the beginning. Ooh, there are. So it says that this book deals with topics of domestic abuse, gaslighting, physical abuse, mental abuse, and controlling. So just be wary of that going in, but I think this one's going to be really good. I've enjoyed the book that I've read by him, and I really want to continue, but this is just the most recent one in the series that I'm very much enjoying. So I had to pick it up, and also look at that beautiful cover. I love it. I then picked up the only book, I believe it's the only book by Beth O'Leary that I didn't actually own, and it was her debut. I believe it's her debut, and that is The Flat Share. This one is one that I've seen everywhere, and I just think it sounds really, really good. We follow our main two characters, Tiffany and Leon, who are sharing an apartment, but they've never met. One of them works during the day and one of them works during the night. Let's see, Leon is a night shift worker, and so he takes the apartment during the day, and Tiffany has it on nights and weekends. So they never in fact meet, but they do leave each other notes, and it's like their romance. And I've loved the book that I've read by Beth O'Leary. I've got, actually it's out of frame here, but I've got almost everything else. I think this is the only thing I don't own. I'll have to double check because I'm pretty sure, unless she's come out with something new, I own all of her books because I'm very emotionally invested. And this one just sounds so good. I've heard really good things about it, especially with the two of them writing notes. So you've got notes within this book, and there's just something about that just sounds really cute. So I had to pick it up. It was about time. I don't know why I put it off so long, but I have it. I'm a little bitter because the cover being the debut, it doesn't fit the aesthetic of the rest of her books, but that is fine. It fits the size, and that is what matters. So I do finally have the last book by Beth O'Leary, so I've caught up, and now I just gotta read them. So yay, this just looks so cute. I then have 3 mass market historical romances that I picked up from my used bookstore. Again, I did pick up a couple of things from there like I mentioned, but I walked out of there relatively with not a whole lot, because I always walk out of there with a lot of books. The first one is just because I'm obsessed with this author's covers. I haven't read a single thing by this author, but I keep buying her books because A, they're all Scottish romances in some way, and B, because they're covers are stunning. And this one is My Beloved, and it's by Karen Rainey. Look at that, just beautiful, like oil painting style cover. I think it's stunning. So this one, I'm not quite sure what we're getting into with this one. We follow our 2 main characters. One of them is Sebastian, who is an earl, and then you've got Juliana, and they apparently got married when they were children. And so, or at least she was a child. I don't know what the age difference between them is. It's been 12 years since they got married, and she saw him once on their wedding day, and that was it. Like, they haven't even consummated the marriage or anything. They just got married and moved on. But Sebastian has, it says here, he's become ensnared in his villainous brother's wicked plots, and therefore he needs to have his bride for some reason. I don't know what the reason is. I'm sure we're going to learn a lot about this, but there's a lot here that just sounds really interesting, and it's the cover. Honestly, the cover drew me in, but I have so many books by this author. Maybe I'll just read a bunch in a vlog. Would you guys be interested in that? Because basically I have a bunch right there. And this one I think is a standalone if I'm correct, but it's an Avon romance, which is always good, and the cover. So beautiful. And then I picked up a couple of books that I believe are in the same series, and they're both by Lindsay Sands. We have In the Highlander's Bed, or In Her Highlander's Bed, and we also have To Marry a Scottish Laird with this beautiful step back. So these both sounded good. This is, like I said, in a series. I think To Marry a Scottish Laird is either the first or second in the series, and then this one I think is a little farther down the line. It's like a 6 or 8 book series. Like, it's pretty long. Both Highlander romances. So that's why I picked them up. So this book follows our main 2 characters, Callan Campbell and Alyssand McFarlane, maybe? I think is how you say it. And Alyssand was kidnapped and forced to wed her clan's enemy. And so she's been running through the forest, basically all bruised and naked, and runs across the clothes of this guy who just decided to take a dip in the loch. And so she steals them. And in the chase, because he discovers that she stole it, in the chase to get it back, she falls, hits her head, and goes unconscious. And he's like, ah, crap. And so he basically takes her back to his keep to help her kind of mend whatever issues she's got going on, and also to figure out why the heck she was running around naked in the forest. And so she's not sure if he's friend or foe. So when she wakes up, she feigns that she doesn't remember anything, including her own name. And so it's their relationship, and then I'm sure stories and like the history from them and like why she was running away is going to come out. And then as far as To Marry a Scottish Laird goes, this one follows our main two characters, Campbell, or Cam, and Joe. And so Cam is basically no stranger to battle. He's heading back home when he gets attacked by bandits, and then this young boy saves him, and it's Joe, and Joe needs to get to a specific place, and so Campbell decides to help him out, and then one day discovers that Joe is not actually Joe, it's Joan. And then on the other side we have Joan, who has been tasked with delivering a scroll to a very specific clan, the McKay clan, and traveling alone is super dangerous, so she disguises herself as a boy in the hopes of getting where she needs to go. And then when she stumbles across Cam and he agrees to help her out, she's like, this is great. But then of course, he may or may not discover who she actually is, and she's like, maybe my disguise did not work like I wanted it to. So it's their romance. Honestly, didn't know a lot about them. I just thought that they sounded really good. Highlighted romances. I've never read anything by this author, but it's definitely one that I've heard a lot about. So I got me a couple more Highland romances because I can never have enough. And the very last book that I got in May was my YA book from Fairy Loot. And so this is your warning that if you don't want to see spoilers for, I think this one was April's YA box. I have an unboxing if you'd like to check it out. Feel free to go there, but this is your warning. And that book was Silver and the Bone by Alexander Bracken, which is one that for the first time in a very long time I've actually heard of and was already on my radar. And this is a YA Arthurian inspired story, and I'm very excited about it because it just sounds super, super good. Also, look at those sprayed edges. Beautiful. This one follows our main character, Tasman Lark, who is a hollower. What that means is that she breaks into ancient crypts of dark sorceresses and searches for treasures inside. And she's been trying to save her brother, who has been under a curse for a long, long time. And now there is rumors circulating about an old ring, an Arthurian ring in some way. And so she and many other Hollowers are out to get it. She thinks this ring is going to be able to help her brother. And so she actually runs into this guy named Amorous, who is the last person that she should rely on. And I think they've had some issues in the past. Maybe there's a past relationship. I'm not sure there, but there's something about them that she does not trust him. And then they end up teaming together to look for said ring. So Arthurian, I wouldn't say this is a retelling because it's not, but it's definitely inspired by Arthurian legend. I've really enjoyed the past books that I've read by Alexandra Bracken, so I'm interested to see her next one. Like I said, I have my eye on this one, so I'm really excited to see how this one goes, but Arthurian legend kind of is what drew me in anyway, so I was really excited when we got this one in our box. And that's it. That is a quick look at all the books that I picked up in May. Not too many, some super random ones, but I'm very excited about all of them as per usual. So let me know if you've read any of them. If you have, let me know if there's something that you picked up in the month of May, what your favorite new beautiful book is. I think obviously it's gotta be this one. Look at the sprayed edges. I can't get over it. It's so pretty. But if you liked this video, and I very much hope that you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you'd like to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got all my social media down there as well as other fun bookish links, so remember to check all that out. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!